Since the last time he was on the podcast, today's guest has lived in Japan, California, and now he's back to the Motor City in Detroit, Michigan, with a lot of perspectives on how the outdoor industry has changed since he led the Professional Outdoor Media Association. I think we've shared quite a few frustrations with the way outdoor media has been going in the last, let's say, decade. And today, I think we're just going to have a fun discussion about our own perspectives from somebody that got real close and is now very far away. I'm Brandon Butler.
I'm Nathan Shags McLeod.
And I'm Kevin Orthman.
Welcome to the Driftwood Outdoors podcast. Kevin, great to see you again, buddy.
Good to see you guys.
It's been a long time, man. Brandon did a little bit of that intro, kind of explaining you gallivanting across the globe, but how about you give us just kind of a quick recap since you were on the podcast last time? Because, I mean, that was back at at the cabin? It wasn't a deer camp. It was...
I think so.
Was it?
He was making, he made pheasant pate.
I do remember him showing up with pheasant pate.
That was good.
He didn't really know where he was going, did he?
No, it was deer camp. Yeah, you were down there one year for opening day of deer rifle season. That's right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so it's been a journey. So since I've been I lived in Yokohama, Japan, and I came back after COVID, and then moved to a little place called California. So I got to see all the sights and sounds of that beautiful place, San Clemente. Big shout out to San Clemente. I know you guys have a big viewership there. So it's an incredible place. California is an abundance of everything. So and then I made the Midwest suicide pact to come back. So here I am committing, blue collar suicide right back to where I started. So back to the Midwest. So it's great. I literally had 10 or 12 palm trees in my yard to this. You can see my robust background of squirrels and sticks.
Oh, you have some bucks running around back there once in a while, though.
They come every day, Brandon. Two things. You guys know this from the Midwest. If you have dogs, when the snow melts, it's gross. But now I have this compounded interest of about 9 or 10 deer that have deposited what can only be described as buckets of deer shit everywhere. It's sort of like, it was like, oh, it's pretty. Everything melted. We got a couple of days of 40s and 50s, and I came out. I was like, oh my Lord, there's a word. I might as well have a pack of dogs living.
You got to pick those up like one little, like
little
round turn at a time.
I'm gonna have them dehydrated and move to Missouri so you guys can debate something.
You could probably start a business with them, like a big buck attractant. Like the only way you'll kill a booner is if you spread out Kevin's pellets around your stand.
Well, there's that one woman that makes the moose poop art that got all famous and was all over the place there for a while. You could be the deer poop guy.
That's a lot of work, boys. I think I can find other ways to do this. This is probably the worst deposition I've ever been in, by the way. So,
back in the day, Paddle Don had a company called Dragonfly Paddles. That's actually where the Paddle Don came from. And his logo looked exactly like that fancy shirt you're wearing. Have you and Paddle Don been collabing on some kind of clothing line?
No, we haven't. This is actually a Howler Brothers shirt. So, and I enjoy wearing these shirts. They're comfortable. But what's funny about Paddle Don is I denied his friendship on Facebook once a week. and I hope he listens to this because he literally is always he's like, requested. I'm like, denied. Two things about that. Number one, I didn't know his real name. So half the time I was like, oh, this guy is. And then I zoomed in his picture. I'm like, this is a very persistent individual. And I was like, oh, no, I do know who he is. Denied. So
I'm feeling a little self-conscious in the video today. I knocked the crown off of my my tooth with frozen turtles. I had some nice pecan turtles in the freezer, took a bite out of one, knocked the crown off. So probably $1,000 piece of candy. So I'm trying not to smile so you don't see the big Mike Tyson gap in my top teeth.
Is it your top teeth?
Yeah, kind of in the back.
Oh, it's a bicuspid. Yeah. And you look just like you always did in Lake County. So it's
I'm just trying to fit in. You mean home of Chicago Bears?
Life.
Lake County, Indiana?
Like
Home,
I hope they get the Bears, and I just think it's hilarious watching my home, Porter County, go absolutely insane to realize that they would have to pay then a stadium tax. That's what my Facebook has been loaded up with. So, so yeah,
wait, Porter County? You're a Porter County guy.
yeah, I'm a Porter
Were
County.
you
Yeah,
born?
so
Were you born in Valparaiso?
I was born in Michigan City, Indiana, at St. Anthony's
I
Hospital.
was born in Valparaiso. So,
Yeah,
but Michigan City's not Porter County.
no, what is it?
Uh,
Laporte?
uh, LaPorte County.
Yeah. So I have a dog here barking at us. Excuse me. Hey. So,
So, for
sorry
those
for
that
that.
may not be aware, the Chicago Bears are talking about bouncing over the state line into Northwest Indiana, which is basically Chicagoland as it stands. It's pretty funny though to see all the memes and stuff going on about the Gary Bears. I think it'd be amazing. I mean, it's basically South Chicago, so the area needs economic stimulus. Hammond, I believe, is the actual site where they would be. They don't have to change their name. They're still the Chicago Bears. Both New York teams play in New Jersey. Same deal. I'd much rather them be there than Arlington Heights. My first choice would be for them just to stay where they are, right there on the lake shore, Soldier Field, rebuild it, do something. But if they got to move, might as well come on home to Lake County, Indiana.
I mean, that's
No,
just that's a new thing nowadays with NFL owners. They want new stadiums, but they don't want to pay for them, so they're willing to jump ship, leave states. It doesn't matter. The Chiefs are doing it. I mean, I joke that the Hunt family are just Cronky light. Now they're bailing on Missouri and going to the Kansas side because the citizens of Kansas now are going to pay for this brand new fancy big ass stadium. And yeah, billionaires just can't pay for their own stuff. That's
Ain't that something, man? Like, that's
beautiful
crazy.
thing about it, man. You become a
Yeah.
billionaire, you don't have to pay for anything. I want a new
Nothing.
stadium. Let us poors pay for it.
So we can watch it on TV because we can't afford tickets to the game.
And people
That's right.
jump all over it. Like Kansas tripped over themselves to bring them in. So, I mean, I don't blame them, but I don't think I can root for the Chiefs now once they go to the Kansas side.
Yeah, where'd Kansas
mean,
get all this money? I mean, Kansas was bankrupt not too long ago. Because now Missouri's like, hey, let's see if we can do exactly what Kansas did and bankrupt our state by eliminating income tax as well. So, and again, putting a sales tax on the poors. So
yeah.
those that have like large incomes will no longer have to pay tax on their income, but everybody will have to pay tax on things you go buy. So once your checks are taxed, now the little bit of money that you have left over, you can go take it to the store and get taxed even higher. So the ratio percentage of what's going to happen to middle class and low class earners is way disproportionate compared to, higher earners. So, hey, at least those higher earners will have more money to go to those Chiefs games.
There you go. No, yeah. And the taxes on everything, restaurants. That's what they really talked about. The restaurants, the groceries, every little. It's a little. It's just a little bit, but it adds up pretty quickly.
What were taxes like in Japan? Give us a little rundown on life abroad.
Oh,
Because I'm not ready to jump ship. Give me some.
live abroad. So the taxes are the flat tax. They're actually you guys can look this up. It's pretty famous. They send you a tax bill because they already know how much you made. It's a postcard. You fill it out, off it goes. But everything you have to remember, the food is roughly about 30 to 40% cheaper. My son's in Italy is right now. He goes to the university there. And that's what he comes back to. I love to tell the story is I got to stay with him for about 3 weeks last year. I stayed with him and his two roommates. And like you have that romanticism where you're like, if I ever got to back to college with mine, the answer is no, they're still stupid. I love them dearly. But on the way out, I told them I'm buying groceries and I turned around, my whole cart was filled with bottles of wine. And I'm like, I can't buy all this wine. And they're like, well, would you rather buy me bottled water? I was like, yeah, it'd be great. So I turn around, my son goes, well, I look at this wall of wine. I said, all right. He goes, look at the prices. And they're like, $3, $4 a euro for a bottle of wine. And he goes, now let's go to the water section. And they're $8 or $9 a bottle. He's like, can I have wine now? I'm like, load it up, boys. Let's look yourself out. So yeah, so food tends to be a little cheaper. Cup of coffee's, a couple bucks, and 12 here. But, yeah.
Life in general, though, outside of food. I mean, what are living expenses like? Again, what's the tax structure like? I mean, you said they know what
In
you make
Japan,
and they send
to
you
be fair, we were there as complete expats, so some of it was unseen to us. So, meaning I don't know what property tax is. I didn't know. The company helped us out with all that. We had a person for all that negotiated. So, um, but overall, it tends to be. I find it a little simpler. It's very laid out. It's not our tax code is. This is we get into a weird podcast. But our tax code can be a little complicated, and theirs is pretty straightforward. These are the facts. Now, Italy, totally different. I do not understand Italy's at all. And I don't even think Italians understand Italy's, and so you're going to get somebody to comment. But um, it's very confusing. So, especially property tax, like people split up homes, because if you own so many square feet, you get a different tax bracket. It's very interesting. So,
well, like here in
you,
Missouri, if you own a vehicle, you have to
uh
pay personal property tax on at the end of the year. If the bank owns the vehicle and you send the bank money every month for the vehicle you're borrowing from them, you still have to pay the property tax on it at the end of the year. I mean, it's an absolute racket. So like why we're not eliminating that tax? Well, I asked about that in the Capitol, and it's because that's really the only tax base for the poor counties in Missouri, which are all but two or three. And if you took away the personal property taxes, there is no income to tax or not a substantial amount. And I don't know. Like to me, it just doesn't make sense. I would love for somebody to just once sell me on the idea of why a flat tax doesn't work. Like if you make $2 million a year, you pay 20%. If you make $200 a year, you pay 20%. And then, you know, go from there. Why, like, just a equal amount of what you earn is taken out and goes into the pot. Aren't you an economist, Kevin? Don't you have an answer to that?
No, I have no answer to that. I understand where you're coming from, Brandon, and you can clearly tell that this podcast is being recorded around about the time Brandon does his taxes. So,
Like we need to have a
let's
chat because we haven't done them yet. That's so funny. It's on my to-do list to talk to him after this podcast. I'm
right
like,
right
when
out
are
of
we doing
scene.
our
There's a pile
taxes?
of paper. He's like, son of a gun.
Wait, you want to pay taxes this year?
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys should not do this on the podcast. So,
Well, I
you
mean,
should
I'm
just
joking.
you should do your podcast. And you should do all your taxes on the podcast. Just sit there and just fill it out. Don't say anything and just swear under your breath.
But I mean, I've made the joke about Missouri. I'm like, you don't own anything. The state owns everything. We just ask them, we pay them, we rent all our stuff from the state because even when you pay it off, you still got to pay personal property tax to the state every year.
Mhm.
And you see how long you
Yeah.
get to keep that boat or that truck or even your house if you stop paying your personal property tax on it. It's not yours, it's Missouri's. They're just letting you rent it from them.
I've got a boat that my grandpa bought in 1988 that sits in my backyard like a lawn ornament that hasn't been in the water in years. And I got to pay Missouri every year taxes to keep it just sitting in my yard. It's crazy.
Just for
All
the
right.
property
Well,
tax? All right, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
oh, personal. So you have your property tax like a normal state where you pay property taxes on land or a home that you may own. But here you pay it on anything that's registered. So if you got a four-wheeler, you got to pay Missouri to own it every year. If you got a boat, every vehicle, anything that's registered, airplanes,
Farmers get really
tractors.
screwed. Every tractor,
Oh,
every
yeah.
trailer, every piece of equipment. Like we got Doolittle trailers out. I have one. Brandon has a couple. Got to pay personal property tax on those every year.
And plates.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
It's great.
But we're broke.
Good.
The state's always broke. Never enough money.
You guys need to earn more then.
Kevin, you're right. It is on us. What are
Yeah, it is.
we
It is.
doing? Shame on us.
All right, let's take people back a little bit, transition to the outdoors. You had a company, you sold out from your company, you were looking for something to do. You became the executive director of the Professional Outdoor Media Association. Tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about that experience.
It was a great experience. It seems like a million years ago, and they've gone on to do good things, and the organization's still running. I'm not at part of it, so I can't really speak on any of it. But I watch them on Instagram. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool to meet the people like yourself and Shags and some of the people who tell stories um, about outdoor life and where the American history of it all, and some of the honestly were some of my favorite people to really deal with: the Ducks Unlimited, the Grouse Society, SCI, and which is having their conference right now. And that was an important part, and really watching how passionate the people are. You guys joke about being poor, and I'm not using that, but it looks like, on as they say, don't trust everything you see on TV. Some of these guys really suffer for their art and their work, and they do it out of passionate love for what they do.
Well, I knew you long before you took that job. In fact, I kind of brought the idea to you.
You did.
However, you were there at a time where a major transition, I would say, in the industry was taking place. The old guard was officially being put out to pasture, and this new means of modern communication has kind of taken hold. So when I started writing in 2006, you still went to these conferences and they taught you how to query a newspaper editor, or how to query and query means to send in an idea to see if a newspaper or magazine wanted to buy your idea, and then issue a contract to go out and either, write the articles, shoot the photos, whatever. That's almost non-existent today. Fast forward 20 years, and it's social media, it's online presence. There's very, very few people that are actually writing freelance articles for magazines. There's the conservation organizations you mentioned have publications and on staff people, and they do hire some outside writers for those, but we've just seen the dismantling of the traditional means of communication. I don't think it's a good thing. You've got people with Facebook pages now that look like meth heads, but they've bought a bunch of likes and followers and claim to be outdoor writers, but they can't even spell their subject's name right. Um, it's almost insulting to the people that were, professional outdoor media members, professional outdoor writers that had some kind of credentials, some kind of standard by which to be held to. And today you just, you buy a bunch of, foreign bots and have a Facebook page and finish every post with, I'm an outdoor writer. So like, how did you see that transition happening? I mean, you were part of trying to help save SEOPA, which Southeastern Outdoor Press Association, which ended up closing shop. And I mean, the writing was on the wall. Like, talk about what you saw in that transition and where it took us.
Yeah, you've put a pretty grim light on this, but
there's not much of a bright one, I don't think.
well, I think there is actually. I think I believe. I mean, there's still good writers out there. You know them, Brandon, and you're one of them. And I still, when I still get the newspaper, and which is never, but I used to get your articles when you used to send them out. And but I think it's it's just the way. I mean, is the argument the same? Is I assume there was, when the printing press came out, somebody argued that the guys who wrote the Guggenheim Bible, are they complaining about the calligraphy going away? I mean, that's really what's happening here. I don't know about the bots and everything else, but I do know it's interesting to see some of the stories come out of places that, quite frankly, they couldn't tell their stories any other way except flying someone down who had a really big outreach, and now you can tell your individual stories. So what I enjoy are the guys who are the guides, some of the foreign stuff that's outside the U.S. That really tell their stories, or even the really hyper local stuff. And you guys do a really good job on your podcast. I've learned more about Missouri than I think I mean, if you guys don't have a sponsorship from the CBB, I just don't understand. because quite frankly, I mean, I know most of the rivers. I mean, you've taken me some of them, but the other thing too is some of the places I'm like, oh, I can fish here. I've even told people, and they're like, hey, I'm kind of cutting through my brother-in-law cut through Missouri. He's in the military, and he always stops to fly fishes someplace. And I was like, oh, you need to stop here and here. And my Brandon tells me about it. And I had a really good luck. But so I think that's what I like about it is if you can look up anything you want. If you want to look up Northwest Indiana, you can find about the Union Mills, mill pond, which prior to, I would say, the internet and storytelling that way is the only two people knew about was my dad and my uncle. So
Yeah, but what if I went online right now and said Mill Pond is 2,540 feet deep? In the bottom lives the Loch Ness Monster's cousin. If you touch the water, it's acidic and your fingernails are going to fall off. Like, there's nobody to fact check if that's real or not. And then what's crazy is I post that online, and then AI uses it as a source of information. And now you've got misinformation spread. There's no fact checking. There's no like barrier to entry. There's nobody to hold anything to the truth or accountable. I mean, we see this in all media, of course, but
yeah,
we're just talking about outdoor media in general. And of course, ego is a huge issue in this industry, especially where everybody wants to be, a famous big buck hunter, walking around like the SCI show in their camouflage beanie and camo clothes. They look like they stole off of a guy under the bridge before they went in there, and claiming to be an outdoor writer. Jesus, man, it just drives me insane. It'd be like me trying to say I'm a brain surgeon, because I took a deer's brain out of its skull one time. Now I'm just going to call myself a brain surgeon. Like, nobody holds you to any accountability. There's no like aspect of credibility at all.
I think I know who you're talking about. And can you tell that we've been having an issue with some of these people when we stick up for MDC and their handling of CW and all the misinformation that gets spread through social media? We got some PTSD, I think, from dealing with this.
Oh man, it's just, I don't think it's PTSD. I mean, that's funny, but the reality is, it's just like, I just want to take my ball and go home. Like, it's just, I feel like the game's over for the most part,
Do you,
like,
do you think, do you think outdoor communications game is over? Or do you think the traditional outdoor sports is over? Those are two different.
You're not giving me society as an option.
Well, no, not today. Not today.
I feel like there's a lot of things that are on the downslide.
Yeah. I mean, no, I think when anybody can go online and buy a Facebook presence and then, brag about how many impressions that they get, which is just bullshit. It's like somebody that had a TV show saying, I'm in 30 million households. Like, my TV show's in 30 million households, but 875 people watched it, and that's how they tried to sell you sponsorships to their TV shows. Now it's somebody saying, I got 3 million impressions this week on my Facebook page. Like, but then you go to the Facebook page and 7 people like the post. It's like, oh, congratulations. You're just really out there moving the needle, but back in the day, you used to have the Nash Buckinghams and, like the real outdoor riders, it was Grits Gresham and just the Jim Zumbo, and the list just goes on. And today it's, who can buy the most presents on Facebook and
get off my lawn, you little punks.
It's just, it's nuts. So
you're not even 50 yet, man, and you're already getting super old and grouchy.
Yeah,
I'd rather talk about taxes at this point.
This is really,
you're gonna be insufferable.
No, I'm just gonna
sit in the dark. We just sit in the dark
in his rocking chair, just mumbling to
the way. I'll find something else to talk about. I got this out of the way early.
Yeah. You're gonna be one of those garage guys soon. Like, oh, you remember those when we grew up? Where's your dad? In the garage. He's in the garage.
Don't bother him. He's in the garage.
He's in the garage.
Aviation communicate. I'm gonna get a better airplane. Start talking about aviation or something else. I don't know. Yeah, we shouldn't do these early on a Sunday morning.
You pick the time.
How were the
Well, I'm
fights
kind of
last
curious
night, Shags?
to try to get back to some actual outdoor conversations. Kevin, did you get an opportunity to fish at all in Japan? Because I mean, it's
Yeah, I did.
man, they got
Yeah,
all
we
sorts of options. You got trout. They do that crazy city urban fishing, and then of course offshore. You got all sorts of options.
yeah, offshore is tough. Offshore is here, like if you charter a boat, um, um, yeah, I mean, most of the time they have their own, they have gear for you, and basically you're just along for the ride and going. There, you have to really, and this is other places too, outside the country, but when you charter a boat, you get a seat on the boat, and you're expected to have everything else. So I really had this this urge, especially off of Okinawa, to fish for big tuna. And when they realized, they're like, you need electric reels, and you need, and that was all not supplied.
That's
So
wild.
yeah, so like I mean, so the price of the boat was not that expensive, $400 or $500. But then by the time you start throwing electric reels on top of this, and you're looking at $4,000 or $5,000, and then you realize why there's like a really really active for sale by owner, like gear sale, like you more than you've ever seen in your life. Because the other thing too is like help me out, a Fenwick, like a bass rod
Yeah.
that you can buy in the US for, I don't know, a nice one, what, 100, half, $200. It's about $450 to $600 there. So um it's considerate. Now I did fly fish for smallmouth in the foothills of Fuji, which is amazing. Um they throw some of the biggest bait you've ever seen in your life, these just huge jigs, and I'm out there with a little tiny fly, catching the same thing, and because that's what I had. And then the trout stuff is pay for play, so it's not as romantic as you think. It looks beautiful. The one I really, really am disappointed. There's an inlet lake way up in Hokkaido, and they have these beautiful trout. And I just didn't have the time to get up there to go to the lodge. So, but it's a beautiful place.
Did you eat much sushi?
Yes, I've eaten sushi. Yes,
No, over there. Did you eat? Isn't it supposed to be just incredible over there?
it is good. It's very good. It's also sort of a sometimes food. It's not everywhere. It's more, believe it or not, I discovered Indian food in Japan. So it was curry is a little bit more readily available than sushi is sometimes.
Really? Huh.
Wow. I
Yeah,
wouldn't have guessed that.
So
yeah.
two. I
Japanese
mean
curry is incredible.
the bluefin tuna market over there is, I mean,
That's a
world class, right?
that's Yeah, that's a different business, and that's a business. We got to visit the fish market once, and you really see, you get there about 3:30 in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. You can tour it all day, but really that's when the business happens. Um, and that's when you guys seen the videos when they're grading them and they're looking for fat content, and that's a different business. I mean, that's $100,000, $50,000 fish coming off there, and they are quick and efficient. So here when you go to a farm auction, it's sort of a spectacle. That's done with whispers and handshakes, and off they go. Like, just these fish just keep disappearing. So that's a big, big market.
Hmm. I don't know if I've ever had bluefin tuna. I've had a lot of yellowfin tuna. I've had a
Yeah.
lot of Charlie tuna.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have too. So nothing wrong with that. So,
Well,
but
when
yeah,
you left Japan and ended up back, you ended up in California. Now we should
yeah,
mention your wife is a huge success in the automobile industry. Now working for Jeep, but you went to Japan for Nissan. You were in California for Genesis, and now you're
yeah,
back with Jeep in Detroit. So Wendy is dragging you around the world, and I think you guys are
yeah.
having one hell of an adventurous life and a really cool experience to watch. But when you're out there in California, what did you find as far as outdoor opportunities there along the ocean and inland?
Well, the ocean. I didn't go inland. I didn't need to. I was about a mile and a half away from the ocean, so we got to fish pretty much anytime we wanted. Charlie and I and my son loved to fish off the shore, and then do you guys know what the trestles are? It's where it's Richard Nixon's home after he got impeached. He has he's dead, but he had an incredible estate there. And right off the trestle is a seaweed bed, so you can take your paddle board out and fish into the seaweed. It's a
There's
little
sharks out there
unnerving.
though, dude. No
Yeah,
way.
they're big sharks. Yeah,
No.
it was they tagged some of those sharks, and I saw a couple small ones, but they had a great white that came all the way from Hawaii, like, and she's one of the largest females they've ever had, like on the Nat Geo channel. And I was like, I don't think I'll be fishing today. Like, they had her cruising right through the trestles all the way up into Seal Beach. So, but no, it's great. So, it's just great stuff. And then I'm highly disappointed. You probably know more about this than that. But I did get a permit to hunt mule deer on um, Catalina Island, and now it's really controversial because they're going to try to wipe out the whole herd at one time. So, and I mean, it's a really, really healthy population. So I did get a tag for 2026. So technically I could hunt there this year. But I'm not really sure what's going to happen. I've been watching
So in California, the mouth breathers could actually be right when they say that they're trying to wipe out the entire herd. I
on
watched
Catalina
that video.
Island, yeah.
No, I
Yeah.
did. I watched the video. Howl for Wildlife put out a great video on that, and they had that conservation association gal
Yep.
on there just trying to explain why they got to kill them all. And
Yeah, which
man,
is-
what
yeah.
what a tough job she had to do, because nobody watched that and was like, "Oh yeah, you're right."
That's a good
You
idea.
know, like, that's a good idea. Yeah. So, did
Hey-
you get one out there?
No, my tag's for this year, so I'm going
Oh.
to try to go out there, but it's going to be, I don't really know. I have to read the fine print because I have a hunting license in California, but I'm not really sure if I'm still a resident long enough. I got to figure it out. If not, I got to just.
So how do you get it? I mean, you already have a
Just
tag
apply.
for the 2026 season.
Yeah. So you just apply. It's an application. So don't think of it's like a tag for like out west. This is not like a situation where you have to get points, and you just have to put your name in the box and you figure it out.
Yeah. So are those deer then not managed by the California like state agency? Are they just managed by the island itself? You would think there would be
It's
some
the
kind of governance
conservation
there.
group there.
But that doesn't make sense.
Well, no, it doesn't make sense, but it's
California.
It's California, man. So, and Catalina Islands, like most of it's nature. So, because right on the coast there is really where all the tourist stuff is. Most of it's like a nature preserve. It's a beautiful place. But I was really excited about going, for Step Brothers alone, because I was going to, get a camouflage, boats and hose, Catalina.
Enjoy the
Is that
wine
where
mixer
is that where that's
afterwards.
supposed to be from?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
What is it? Yeah,
The
Catalina
Catalina
what
wine
kind-
mixer.
That's right.
Oh yeah.
So I was there.
Everybody knows that
I was going
movie's
to create
so good. I don't
content.
know that movie at
I
all.
was going to get a Facebook page just for that and buy a bunch of bottles.
Well, I'm curious, Brandon, you watched the video. I wasn't aware of this. What were their reasoning on why they need to have all the mule deer taken off the island?
They're destroying the native flora essentially and just out competing their non-native species on the island, which again takes me back to my experience in Virginia hunting Sika deer, where I actually called the Chamber of Commerce lady and I'm like, you guys are messing up here by wanting to depopulate this island. These are very valuable. You should be leaning into the idea of having people come here to hunt. And I don't want to give away too much or I'll be telling everybody where it was at, but there are other things going on that were far more detrimental to the native plants on that island than Sika deer. And the same thing out there. Like, there's no reason to depopulate all of them. I mean, you could very easily increase the quota on hunter harvest, get it stabilized, and then have a nice population of mule deer that people are going to enjoy to wildlife watch. People are going to come out there to hunt and rent hotel rooms and eat in restaurants kind of in an off season. So I don't understand it at all.
Well, and then on the other side of that spectrum, I mean, we've been talking about it on the podcast, and it's getting pretty close that my home state of Oregon nearly has enough signatures to now put on the ballot to make all hunting, fishing, and trapping illegal in the entire state.
You think
But they-
Uncle Steve will just pull his camper out and live in my yard?
Well,
if
I
they
just
do
feel like
that?
it's going to turn everyone into outlaws, because in my small little town, I mean, that's what everyone does. They hunt, they fish, they trap, they love the outdoors, but they want to just turn Oregon into a nature preserve and not allow any
No.
type of harvest.
So Kevin and I have had some offline conversations. Maybe we'll delve into them a little bit here about his frustration with people and their ability to just shoot themselves in the foot by not voting correctly and not voting properly. But on this Oregon front, my point has been and continues to be, hunting is a privilege that's bestowed upon us by our fellow voters. And the only way that we keep the privilege of hunting is to be good citizens and hunt in a way that doesn't negatively reflect on our traditions. Now in Oregon, you've got this incredibly dense population of urbanites in Portland. You've got Antifa, you've got all that crazy shit going on in Portland, but you've got this wide range of conservative, more traditional people living out in the part of the state that you're from, and pretty much everywhere besides Portland and the coast, all the way down to California.
Yeah, you got some bigger metropolis that lean much more like tree hugging hippie-esque. Eugene, Bend.
That's on the coast
Portland.
though, right? That's kind of
What's
what
that?
I'm saying. That's on the coast though. Like if you go like
Yeah,
kind
we're
of,
splitting hairs. I don't. It's
So
not enough to argue if it's the coast or not.
there's not a lot of people out in Eastern Oregon that are going to be in favor of ending hunting and fishing across
Well, that's
the
where
board.
Bend comes in. Bend has turned into that, and they're on the eastern side. So there are some bigger cities.
Right.
My point being, there are
Yeah.
a handful of bigger cities that I could see would think this is a good idea when it's not.
Yeah, but long story short, so all the people that haven't done anything to stand up for hunting rights, haven't done anything like joining an organization that defends your rights or being a good player in the space, that wants to stand here and say it's a God-given right, we'll use that in a court of law. As soon as it gets passed and you go out and kill an elk, I hope you go to court and you say, well, it's a God-given right, and see how that works out for you, because it's not going to work out for you. It's a privilege legally. Like there are laws in this country. There's laws in every state, and the people of Oregon very well could take that right away from, or that privilege away from all the citizens out there. It sounds crazy to those of us that love to hunt and fish, but you have to remember the percentage of population that actually hunts is well below 10%. So you've got 90% of the citizens of Oregon at play to decide whether or not those of us that do enjoy hunting get to continue doing it or not. And if you're not doing anything to positively promote hunting, if you're not doing anything but being a slob on Facebook and posting bloody pictures and writing incoherent rants against the government and, and basically showing yourself as a hunter in that light, then people are going to vote against you because they don't like that. And you're the problem. So that's been my argument when people are asking, like, what's the biggest threat to hunting? I just say it's hunters over and over and over again, because they're the ones going online, making a fool out of themselves, creating division, being a slob, or being an egomaniac, and, one of the two extremes. So hunters are doing it to themselves. And if Oregon were to vote this way, I could understand it. I wouldn't support it. I'd be upset about it, but it wouldn't be like, oh, how did that happen? Like, it's
I
pretty
wouldn't be
easy.
shocked by it.
No,
Which is
it's
sad.
pretty easy to understand. And if Oregon falls, a bunch of other states are going to fall, we're lucky that these anti-hunting organizations are so inept. If the Humane Society of the United States, which that's a play on words, they're not the animal shelters. This is an anti-hunting organization that's incredibly well funded. The Humane Society of the United States, HSUS, or PETA, which is just a promotional joke, but still has, everybody knows what it is. Like if they actually went after things that hunters despise, like if they actually wanted to put their money where their mouth is, they could end high fence hunting tomorrow. If in Missouri, they could put their money behind an initiative petition and get it on the ballot and market it as, I mean, just market it for what it is. And that would be the end of it. But they don't pick their battles properly, thankfully. So yeah, the end is near. The end is near.
Welcome to our podcast, Kevin.
Yeah, no kidding. This has been great.
This is why
we're just
Kevin's
having-
here. Kevin's
Things
trying
have
to be all
changed since the
fancy in
last
his,
time we were on here.
Kevin's
Yeah,
trying to be
we're-
all fancy in his dragonfly shirt, but when we get on the phone, he tells me that he hopes every piece of public land is sold, and they're because the people did it to themselves. So why don't you give it, instead of just making me
no.
be the
Be the bad
angry
guy,
old
because
man?
you're doing such a good job of it. You're
Back
doing a
me
really
up.
good
That's why you're back on here. Back me up.
No,
I'm just going to call
someone-
this podcast Three Grumpy Old Men.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. I when I get on the phone with you, I'm on a rant about something. But my joke is always, I can't wait to see condos in Yosemite on the dome, because that's where they want to take it. And I don't know where that's going to go, but the public land stuff to me scares me more than, I mean, listen, Shags just informed me about Oregon. That surprises me. And I'm not staying up on all the stuff that's actually frightening, because Oregon is such a rich history of hunting and fishing. And even just the sustainable stuff. I mean, you and I think on the podcast, we talked about, what are those crazy clams you have to dig up?
Razor
the
clams. I got a
No,
bag of
but
them in the fridge right now, defrosted.
But yeah, so, but that kind of tradition, it's almost like going back to Northwest Indiana, it was smelting. I don't even know if they still do that, but that was that was a big social event in the neighborhood that had really nothing about being a fisherman but when the neighbors all got together, we went to smelt at the dunes. But yeah, so to me is the fact I've got to travel all over the world, and we're lucky that we have any place to go. That it's the king land, or it's the government's land almost everywhere else we go. Italy's a little different. They'd love to hunt. I'm amazed at I love when I get to go to Italy and see what they put on the table is always amazing. But go to Japan, to hunt is almost impossible. You have to belong to a club. It takes 5 or 6 years. You need to be an apprentice, because it's a job. It's actual career. So you get paid per deer to take some, if you go to a farmer pays you to show up, and then every deer you take off his property, you get paid for that deer. Any monkey you get to take off that property, you get paid for that monkey. Pigs are the same way. And then they turn around, butcher it, and then sell it to restaurants. So they get paid both sides. So
Which is Africa. That's what Africa does.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
you go out and shoot their farm animals. You put the mount on your wall like I did, and then they sell the meat to a market.
Yeah. So, but it's a different, we're lucky. So the thing that scares me the most is how willing we're willing to bend the knee to give up some of this public land access and just like sell it off. I really hate the fact when, you get the gut, they're like, well, the locals will do better than. I'm like, well, it's only a strip. It's not even all of it. And then you start looking at mineral rights, and they're not going to steward that land the way it's made. In my humble opinion, not going to steward that land the way it's made for all of us. And it's, this is the we instead of the me. It might be a short-term gain for decades of loss. Because you have kids and I have kids. I would love to go make sure they have that ability to go see those pieces of land and hunt and fish on those land, or even take a hike on the land, camp on the land. Border waters in Minnesota is under attack right now, which is someplace I just adore. And especially like Charlie and I were just talking in my 20s. That's where I went. We went on a long camping trip and a canoe trip up there, and fished, but didn't hunt. But it's just something to see if you've never been up there. But this great land of ours has
where our conversation comes from, though, and let's be clear, is the Republican Party is the party that supports divesting our public lands. They're also the party that supports firearms and hunting traditionally. So it's like, And then the Democrats are the ones running these initiative petitions to end hunting and fishing. Like,
Yeah.
and of course, there's people in both parties that are, against or supportive, whatever. But how does an average person like me, who likes my guns, not some crazy nylon pants, combat boot wearing nut job walking around with an AR-15 strapped to my back, but I own a few and I enjoy them. I hunt responsibly and ethically. So I want the Second Amendment to be respected. I want our public lands to be left alone. I want hunting rights to stay in place, but I want conservation to matter. I'm crazy enough to believe that clean water and healthy soil and good air quality are important. So, like, how do you have one party that's like, we're going to support the guns and hunting, but we don't give a shit about water quality or air quality or soil health or anything that matters unless we can privatize some public funds on a piece of private property. Let's divest our public lands and sell them so the lords and kings can have more money. And then you have the other party saying like, oh, hunting is bad. Like mountain lions need to be protected. Then they eat their children literally on a trail in California. Like, where does the average person go to vote? Like, who do you vote for? The people that want you to have a gun but nowhere to use it, or the people that think animals are more important than humans? So it's a homeless situation for most people. So like, I typically vote Republican. That's just the truth, because I'm still under the impression that there's fiscal conservitude in there, which is becoming more and more ridiculous to even believe, as our budget just continues to spiral out of control and deficit goes through the roof even further, and the rich get richer, and I pay property taxes on a fucking boat from 1988. So, but what do I do? Go to the other side and vote for people that want to, take more from me to give to the people that do less? Or like, dude, it's nuts. It's nuts. Like why can't the people that want you to have guns and hunting rights, like, say that public property is the greatest resource that we have in this country to perpetuate the future of hunting and fishing and conservation rights? Instead, they're like, no, we should sell it so some rich people can get richer and all of you peasants can have nowhere to go. Which, again, the capitalism in hunting is on display here in Missouri. So if you look, again, I keep beating this horse, but if you look at the northern tiered counties along the Iowa border, the hunter harvest for white-tailed deer in those counties is more non-residents than residents. And that's because it's so hard to get a tag in Illinois, Iowa, and Kansas. When you do get a tag, it's $500 or $600. You can't get one every year. Here in Missouri, you get a tag over the counter, which in theory is great for participation. We're all talking about trying to grow hunters and sustain this into the future. But for land, like for hunters up there that aren't landowners, it's devastating. So like Joe Schmo can't go hunt down the road like they used to because outfitters, fly-by-night outfitters, have come in and leased up everything, or rich dudes from Detroit like Kevin, or Michigan or Louisiana or someplace like that come in and lease up the land. They come for a weekend or 2 weekends, and now the kid looking over the fence can't go on that land because, it's wrapped up in some kind of contractual lease. So everybody's mad at MDC about it for not raising prices and limiting non-residents. That's not going to fix it. Like, it's greed. Everything has changed. And now you're that person who's pissed off about that. But at the same time, you're voting for the party that wants to get rid of the public lands, which are now the only place you have to go. So good luck into the future. This is why we're going to do a golf podcast next.
Because they're the same. It's the same thing. Both parties. Like, that's to think that one is different than the other, I think is a little comical at this point, that it's just going to be elites versus us poors. I mean, that's pretty much what it is. I don't even recognize the Republican Party anymore. I don't even recognize the Democratic Party anymore. And I've said this the whole time. I'm neither. I like to be in the center. I like to be the party of common sense, which we've completely lost in this country. And I feel like anymore, once we've gotten to, like, if the right takes all the power, it's going to be Nazis and fascism and all that. And if the left gets in power, the world will literally end. Like, what happened to working together? because I remember growing up where I was an American first, an Oregonian second, and I still feel that way. I'm an American first, a Missourian second, and I vote on the person who I think is going to be best for my state and for my country, regardless of political party. But now, like the mental gymnastics these parties are doing to just try to own the other side instead of doing anything to help society or community or anything like that is mind-boggling to me, to where I just get so frustrated. I'm with you, Brandon. I throw up my hands in the air and I'm just like, what are we even doing this for? And you get into the comment sections, which is my toxic trait. I'm always in the comment sections. And
Never go to the comments.
Kevin, you had mentioned about the Boundary Waters and the Chilean company, not even a U.S. Yeah, make America great again. You mean Chile? Have that Chile mining company come in and mine the Boundary Waters. That may be a handful of jobs for a few locals. It's somehow going to be great for this country. It's mind-boggling. But you get in that comment section, and there's people in there defending it, of saying like, no, we need this. We need to have our own minerals, and we need to get, we can't be reliable on other people's stuff. And it's like, do you think any of that's going to stay here anyway? Like,
It's all being exported.
Yes,
Yeah,
where
it's
do
all
you
being
think
exported.
we're shipping it off? We're not going to keep it here. We're not making some type of surplus for Americans. It's mind-boggling to me, but people now, their identities are wrapped up in their political party, and they can't see past it because it's all about trying to own the other side with the sound bite or some type of finger pointing or name calling. I mean, Brandon, you know that. We're singing up for CWD. I would think healthy deer population is a bipartisan issue. And dude, I got called Joe Biden. We got called libtards. Like, dude, you don't know nothing about me, but because I think science, I want to trust a person who's dedicated their life to the biology of deer, that spent their whole life studying this, that they probably have a better concept of it, of Jim Bob, your neighbor or your second cousin's third best friend that said, well, I saw this and this is how I feel. These arguments, and suddenly I'm a boot-licking Joe Biden looking libtard mother bleeper. And it's like, what is, nailed me, dude. Yeah, destroyed.
Called that by somebody that doesn't have a job and survives on government
I can
checks.
count his teeth on one hand. Like, what are you doing, dude?
Those are good teeth, though.
Yeah,
No, they're
Those are
not.
good.
They're barely holding in.
Yeah, they look like shutters in a hurricane.
Coming from you today, you got to be careful.
Yeah, coming from me with my knocked off crown. I will go buy another fake tooth this week.
But I'm God, you got me started. But that's one of my froze, especially for the state of Missouri. If you look statistically, we rank last in paying our public school teachers. Our education system is bottom of the barrel across the country. So all these I'm sorry, guys, a lot of uneducated people trying to make educated decisions, and it is mind-bogglingly stupid and frustrating to see it happen. And I wish people would be more upset. And some of those politicians that are now running on how MDC, we're going to crack down on MDC. How about you help with education and make your community smarter? And then maybe we can all come around and have a conversation about this instead of, it's the angry mob. And I get it. That's what gets you elected. And that's part of the issues in our politics too. So short-sighted that they're just so focused on trying to get reelected and put money in their pocket.
So let's round this out. So I've been thinking about this, so you might have to edit this out. So maybe because 30% of the American people believe the world is flat.
The number's gone up, huh? I thought it was like 20.
No, it's like 30%. So because I had to look this up a couple of days ago, not the fact that the world was flatter. Everybody knows it is. So but really what we should do is I've been thinking about we're doing this wrong. No, apparently no one cares about deer and no one cares about ducks, and they don't understand why public land is important. So maybe if they believe in all conspiracy theories now, that maybe we should protect this land for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
We should really teach that this is about conservation for the great apes. And I might as well go ahead. We're going to go crazy. Let's go all in.
Let's throw them all in there. Mothman,
do it all. All cryptids.
Momo.
This is cryptids. This is all.
I had
cryptids.
you guys going on a serious topic, and we just got twisted. I'm bringing it back to, you talk about.
I'm trying.
You talk about.
I'm being dead serious.
Like,
I don't think you were thinking about this all the way through.
Throws
out. This is what they believe.
Podcast. It's just.
No, I want to make a real statement here
Uh,
about,
Just go for it.
we've talked about the cabin being burned down over and over and over again, and we've talked about going to court and things like that. But I don't know if I've ever explained, kind of how moving the experience was to come face to face with the person that burned it or allegedly burned it. Because expected, anger and vengeance to become the emotions that really like took hold. But all I really felt was pity. Like when you see this person, like who's now in prison for a long time on charges unrelated that he got after getting out of jail last time, there's just nothing there. There's no hope for this person. There's nothing there. He's a product of his environment. And it was very surprising to me to come to that realization that like I don't feel anger, I feel pity. And I feel that way for a lot of society. Like there was no hope from the beginning. I mean, I live in a very rural area. Um, there aren't a lot of people striving for what we would consider, success. There's not a lot of people driving their children into careers or industries where they may get a leg up on what they came from. They're not sending their kids to Italy, Kevin, for college. So you see the cycle. You see how this perpetuates. And we saw it down at the cabin too, Shags, with like the hatred of the national park. So I always go back to like, if my grandpa would have told me something, that would have been gospel to me. Now, you take these generational stories of the government did this to us and stole this from us and we're oppressed because of this. And this goes to both sides. Like, it's not our fault. Like, that's what this country's come to, is like a bunch of people saying it's not my fault. I'm oppressed because of this or I'm oppressed because of that. And it may be where you're from. It may be the family that you have. It may be laws that are in place. But instead of trying to like pull yourself up and grow, you just become trapped in that cycle. And that's where the uneducatedness and the joke I don't know if it was on air before when we were talking about Idiocracy becoming a documentary. I mean, if you look at that movie, it's crazy how clearly there's some truth to the family tree portion of that movie and how this perpetuates. And now we're just at a place where that's the mentality across most sportsmen. It happened through the marketing of hunting on television. It happened, which is essentially just pornography. It's not real. It's just poisoned the minds of people that used to do this for tradition and communion with nature. And now I just don't think there's much coming back from it, to be honest. And I feel pity for that. Like, I don't know what other emotion to say.
And I
So
wish I had the answer. Like I can sit here and rant and bitch and moan and point fingers and talk about how statistically we're this or that, but I don't see how we get out of it. I don't
no,
see how we can
No.
right the ship and turn this around. I mean, it's going to be something. It's going to have to be something very dramatic because
that's that complete mush brain online claiming to be an outdoor writer. That's where this comes from. It's like, no, you're not. You're a shit stirrer trying to divide people so you can be famous, because all of a sudden, we're talking about this. We're talking about it. So some guy bought his way to notoriety, which is what happened on all those outdoor channel shows, sportsman's channel shows. Like everybody tried to buy fame. Nobody, like no agent came looking for this wacko and said, you know what, you should have a television show. They said, here's $200,000 outdoor channel. Let me buy 22 minutes of airtime 3 times a week for 13 weeks. Take my money. I'll call it a tax write-off for my construction business. And now I'll be famous. I will be the next Jim Shockey or the next Michael Waddell. And no, you're not. No, you're not. You're just somebody trying to like buy your way into a party. And now we're seeing it happen on social media, which is far, far cheaper than buying it on television. And all they're doing, it's like a race to the bottom, just an absolute race to the bottom.
Doesn't make me a bad person when I think, well, why aren't we paying for that?
Which takes Kevin's point of like, I hope it all burns. Which is he's being so nice.
Kevin,
today
would
on
you
the
like to
podcast.
back us to be internet famous? Can you please start
No,
dumping
no.
thousands of
No,
dollars
but
into our algorithm?
what's scary is it only takes thousands of dollars. But I mean, prior to that, you just hit on a good point. Outdoor channel was pretty expensive. Airtime on a radio, you guys know this, it was pretty expensive. But Meta's money, the Metas, how they the bang for your dollars and the targeted focus groups they can hit is almost scary. Actually very scary at certain points. So I don't know. It doesn't cost much. I mean, if you had 10 grand, we wanted to put this on this podcast, we could crush it. The scary thing is I don't think we want this podcast for $10,000. But
no, the last time we boosted something, I mean, we didn't spend thousands. I mean, we spent hundreds of dollars to boost the interview with Jason, and it went huge. I mean, I don't even know how many views on the whole podcast on YouTube had over 50,000 views. I mean, the reels were hundreds of thousands, and that's because we paid to play, and we never do that otherwise. But that's the game. You pay to play, and it boosts you regardless of whether it's good content or bad content or factual or complete bullshit. Like the same sack of shit here in Missouri keeps coming up with Facebook pages and copying and pasting the same shit from one page to the next with some like half truths at best, if not just flat out lies, and continues to build this like mob mentality. And and again, like, I hate to think this way, but the reason Kevin's back on the podcast is because he pours gas on my fire constantly, saying, basically, like, let them do it. Like, let them, because pretty soon that's all they're going to have. Like, he's lived overseas. He knows what it's like in Europe and what it's like in Japan. Like, you're not going to have hunting rights. So get on there, you morons, with your torches and pitchforks and lamb blast the only people that are actually doing something for you, and support the high fence people and support all that bullshit, because it's almost over for you. You're not going to be able to afford to go shoot a high fence deer. You've already seen what's happened to private land and leases. There's nothing the government that you hate, is now going to be your savior. You think you're going to get some like savior government that's going to come in and be like, we're just going to open everything back up to the poors because they do so much for our campaign contributions. You're screwed. And the only people you're fighting against are the only people that are actually trying to help you. So congratulations. I'm with Orthman. What? You're trying to be so civil on here. I just want you one time to tell everybody what you tell me all the time. Like, I hope they lose it all.
Well, it's become a rich man. We already saw some of the sports become a rich man's sport. I mean, everybody talks about public land hunting for elk, but that's rare air. Let's be honest, unless you live in the state. And then let's be honest, if you really want to be a very successful duck hunter, there's probably guys are going to bang me up about this, but the clubs are the way. I mean, if I hate to say it, but if a young person, in fact, it happened. A friend of my son said, "Hey, I really like to duck." I'm like, "Well, you have to belong to a club." And there was a club. I'm like, "This is the deal. I can't tow that many decoys. I'm not running boats all the time. I love duck hunt. I've duck hunted with you in Missouri and Kansas, and I love it. But it's a rich man sport."
Oh no, and now, like, that's another huge issue of argument. It's like there's no ducks in Louisiana now because people in Missouri and Iowa are flooding corn. Like, it couldn't have anything to do with climate change. Like, right? There's no chance it has anything to do with the fact that the water's not freezing anymore and that the temperature has increased dramatically at the time of duck season. So the ducks just aren't flying as far south. Like, that couldn't be it. It has to be, flooded corn in Missouri is now because there wasn't flooded corn in Missouri 30 years ago or 40 years ago. So it's like, when reality can't even be added to the conversation about what the actual issues are, how do you get to a solution? If you can't address the actual reason, how do you get to a solution? So Yeah, I mean, you've got United States senators trying to like do an inquisition into flooded corn in Missouri because duck hunters in Louisiana are convinced that it's the clubs that are doing it. And you know what? Maybe there's some truth to that, but those guys in those clubs, those are the guys that pick the politicians. So guess what? Their
Yeah.
clubs are going to continue and their flooded corn is going to continue because they're on the inside and you're on the outside, but you want to put them in charge. So again, good luck.
Yeah, the King's deer.
That's
This
where we're
has
headed.
been really. Yeah, no, it's where we're at in a lot of places. I mean,
Yeah. No, that's true. We're not headed there. We are there. And it's proven itself on that Missouri-Iowa border. It's proven it and everybody's throwing their arms up on social media, but they're wrong. They're mad at the wrong people. They're mad at the wrong people. They got to be mad at somebody. And back to your point about you got to be careful who you vote for. So anyways, it's hopeless. Let's move on.
I know this is going to come out later and it'll be old news by the time that gets released, but I'm happy to announce men's USA hockey just defeated Canada in overtime for the gold medal, 2-1. Way to go, boys.
Nice.
that's incredible.
That's pretty
That is
awesome.
incredible. Heck yeah, man.
Women's and men's hockey bringing home the gold against Canada. That's badass. Way to go, guys.
At least Russia wasn't even in the game. How are we doing in the overall medal count? I haven't been paying attention at all.
Oh, I don't know about it.
I have no idea.
I've just been watching it randomly on the treadmill at the gym. But I knew I was watching the hockey before I jumped on here, so I was kind of invested on that and wanted to take a look at it.
We can't have a podcast where we don't talk about college basketball either. Anybody watch the Duke Michigan game yesterday?
No.
Man, yesterday was a hell of a day for college basketball. So you had number 1 versus number 3. Number 3 beat number 1. You had number 2, Houston, against number 4, Arizona. Arizona beat number 2. So you got a big shakeup there. College basketball, there's so many problems with NIL, but there is more parity, I believe, across the top 20, 25 teams than we've ever seen before because everybody's just buying the player they need.
Yeah. As of right now, gold medal totals, Norway is first at 41. We are second at 33, and Italy is third at 30.
There you go.
Those are overall.
Look at Norway. Wouldn't have suspected.
Yeah, I mean, that feels right. That feels right.
Yeah. A lot of winter going on in Norway.
Yeah, always. Yes. Yeah, they're always there. It's not really they're doing any Olympics. They're just going out in a different country right now.
I think the greatest stat I saw from the Olympics was that the Olympic Village ran out of condoms in the first week.
They did get a second shipment, though. So
they got a second shipment.
Yeah, they did.
A lot of super babies are being made with a lack of
That's
condoms over there. So it's I picture all these Ivan Drago looking kids coming out in the next few years. I was born at the Olympics.
Conceived
at the Olympics. Yeah.
Conceived.
So.
Well, Brandon, you got any more rants you want to go on, or should we move into the mystery bait bucket?
We can move in. I'm a little disappointed in Orthman. He got us fired up. He didn't, but he held back. He must be looking for another job in the outdoor industry.
I am not at this point, but not anymore. So, but
he doesn't
making
want
sure I can
Joe
never
Biden
be hired.
Libtard looking, boot licking.
I think it's hilarious that you got called Joe Biden. That's an insult. I'm like, it's just I don't even understand how the math. You're like,
and why is that an insult? I mean, I don't. That's just where we've gotten.
It doesn't even matter who you are or what you vote for. And there's the point where you're like, yeah, George Washington. You're like, okay, that's cool, I guess. All right.
I'm just and it wasn't like Joe Biden voter. He literally said you
are
like
him,
Joe Biden. I was
you look like him. Oh, that's very specific.
Yeah.
Very
all right.
Yeah, that's very specific.
All right, Kevin. You've done this before. You know.
Oh yeah.
Same old bait bucket that we had way back in the day. We like to wrap up the podcasts with this with a question submitted by you. So if you have one, sometimes it has to do with outdoors. A lot of times it doesn't. It's just a fun, light way to wrap up the podcast. So if you want to ask us a question, you can email info@driftvoodoutdoors.com. You can also shoot us a DM on Facebook or Instagram, Driftwood Outdoors, or find us on YouTube, Driftwood Outdoors TV. Oh, boy. Okay. This could be interesting. This comes from Mark Tutoro. If you had to give up one forever, hunting, fishing, or storytelling, which one goes? I know right away for me.
Go ahead.
It's got to be hunting. I love fishing too much. I get paid to be a storyteller. It's literally my job, so I'm not going to give that up. And like we kind of talked about, and hunting to me now is just it's starting to lose its flair and appeal. It just I don't know. I still enjoy it. This past season was kind of special, being able to harvest that nice buck with my dad's 270 and those memories and things like that. But I mean, if I had to give up one forever, I'm never going to give up fishing, and I don't want to give up storytelling. So in a process of just elimination, hunting would be an easy one for me to give up.
Yeah, like giving up the storytelling. If Zach Bryan offered me $12 million not to go on social media anymore, like supposedly he offered that chicken fried chick, I'd probably take that deal. But for free, I think I got to hold on to the storytelling too. And I'm with you, man. It'd be the hunting, you know. And I'm a guy that's now successfully hunted 39 states across the country, five other countries. I love it so much. I mean, it's just a huge part of who I am, but man, it's just changed so dramatically. And I think about some of my heroes in the hunting space that did storytell as well, like Don Thomas, Gene and Barry, you know, the Wenzel brothers, some of these guys that the average sportsman has probably not heard of, but you know, the same guys that, you know, think Chris Brackett did something good for the outdoors, or Ted Nugent is their real uncle. Like those guys have never read like an intellectual outdoorsman's attempt to storytell around hunting. So yeah, if I had to give something up, I'd say I'd have to give up hunting because fishing's universal, and you know, storytelling is what we do. So yeah, I'm disillusioned that I would have to pick any of the three, but it's kind of where we are.
How about you, Kevin?
I would have to go with hunting as well. Storytelling, I still love to tell the stories, and fishing is not only universal, but it's pretty affordable all the way around the world. It's easy to do, and hunting is it's something I still love and enjoy, but I just don't have the. I love going out with it. It's sort of like I like going out with my friends and doing it. I just don't need cameras, and I don't need all that stuff. And I don't even need a picture at the end unless it's a bunch of us doing stupid stuff. Like, in fact, it's funny. One of our memories I came up with from you guys at the cabin, it was popped up. It was just a group of us making stupid chili. And you know, it was Sam, I think Sam went with us. You invited the guy from California. Yeah. So, yeah, it was just, I still laugh about that stuff. I mean, some of my best story is, the duck hunts are always necessarily not the ducks, it's the blind conversations. There's not, Dave Chappelle can't hold a candle to some of the jokes that are done in duck blind.
I've had multiple people listen to you on speakerphone lately asking when you're going to start your stand-up career, because you make strangers cry their eyes out laughing.
I do, but I have to be in a very manic state to do that. Apparently not Sunday mornings, and I have to get fired up. But no,
we tried, man. We were trying to light a
did.
fire under your ass this morning.
Yeah, if you gave me a little heads up, I would have probably fired up. Wendy told me to be nice, so I told her some of the topics I was willing to talk about, and she just looked at me with really beautiful eyes. Don't you dare! I was like, okay. So I was like, all right. So I behaved. So, but no, there's no stand up.
I mean,
There's no stand up in my future.
You know, you just touched on something, you know, the photo at the end. You remember Blythe in Valparaiso?
Like, remember it?
Yeah.
It's gone now, but yeah, I was just back.
Yeah, I mean, all the good stuff's gone. But you know, they used to take a photo with a Polaroid when you checked your deer in, if it was a big, and then they'd pen it to like to the bragging board. You know, that was that was basically the extent of promotion
Social,
of
yeah.
hunting. My first buck I killed in, I think it was 1995. My grandma put it in a newspaper in Hebron, Indiana. Like they ran a
Yeah.
picture of it. But now I think that photo on Instagram or Facebook is what drives more people outdoors than anything. You know, it's that
Yeah.
ego, and it goes back to that same crowd of people that we've been talking about. It's like they're never going to have the pretty wife. They're never going to have the bank account. They're never going to have, the high profile job, but they could get that big buck, man. And now somebody else is standing in their way of getting that big buck. It's like the universal bastion of opportunity for ego growth is to kill that big buck that's out there roaming around, and somehow everyone else is in the way of getting that, and and it comes back to like the department is standing in their way, not the guy from Louisiana that leased up the 1,000 acres, or the outfitter from down the road that just took 10,000 acres out of the county so they could sell hunts to people from California. It's not their fault, right? It's clearly, the one agency out there actually trying to provide you with an opportunity. It's their fault. So congratulations on getting that so correct.
And I'm guessing this is probably like, we would talk about analytics and numbers and things like that, but we don't do the super popular conversations of just like stroking people's egos and like, oh, everything's great and having a great time. Oh, this is awesome. Like we sit here and have realistic conversations about really difficult things that are happening, and it's not as popular as some other stuff. Like I think we could, if we wanted to, tweak a few things and become some type of, anti-MDC type of podcast, or some other things that are the hot topic right now, or CWD's the COVID of deer, and our numbers would skyrocket because there's a group of people there that want to hear this in an echo chamber. And I'm proud of this podcast that we push back and don't do that and have more difficult, nuanced conversations just about the industry as a whole, and it changing in front of our eyes. And we may not like the way it's headed.
I mean, we've been to meetings, and we're about to go to another one where people far more famous than us are going to say that they can't do anything in support of the resource because they might lose a follower. Like that's what's going to happen. We already know it's going to happen.
Yeah.
We're the fucking Irish from Braveheart. Like just send us out on the field and let us get slaughtered, but at least we're fighting, like
It's worth
everybody
fighting
else
for.
everybody else can stand back on the hill and reap their like fucking sponsored dollars, whatever, man. Thankfully we make our money somewhere else and we're not reliant on this, but we're bought and paid for though.
Yeah.
Are you? Are you guys?
Oh yeah. Bought and paid for. Yeah. Yep.
Well, that's why we have Kevin on here. We're hoping that he's going to cut us a big old fat check out of his personal bank account.
Unfortunately, hundreds of dollars. I could really spot you.
And what we should do is we should go down the list of every hunting celebrity that's been busted for poaching and have them on consecutively. And it would take a couple of years to get through the list. Like if that's all we did was talk to television show hunters that have been, arrested or ticketed, convicted of a poaching crime, it would take years to get through the list.
Yeah.
But those are the heroes.
Yep.
So,
well, what's the final cast of the pod? Our final thoughts?
Golf and fishing, man.
Golf is fishing. That's
Golf
what
fishing.
we learned.
I'm
Moving
ready
to Florida.
Let's do
golf and fish. Yeah. No, it's I don't know. I hate to be so negative, but it's just what's happened. Shit's changed in a dramatic way, and again, like I don't see it coming back. I think the Oregon case is the future for this country, and I think the people that are online fighting against conservation, state agencies, and lining up behind scumbags that are clearly trying to perpetuate their own financial interest in their deer farm, or their like the guys that are trying to like say CWD is not real, but at the same time selling hunts in their confined facility. And the average like person that used to be able to go on private land and hunt backs that person. That's honestly where I'm like becoming so frustrated. Like, and I'm joking with Kevin, but I'm not at the same time. Like, I'm trying so hard to hold the line to where I don't want that person to lose everything rights wise, because like they're the ones that are doing everything to take it away from all of us. So it's kind of like, okay, I hope you get what I hope you get what you're doing.
Well, and they're just, a lot of people are just showing their ass too on social media, and just some of the back and forths they have with people, just with the name calling and the just the terrible things that are just being spewed. That I'm with you. Like, that's no way to have an average person that may be non-hunter or fisherman or outdoorsman. And if they're on Facebook and they see you calling them names, why would they ever stick up for something that you like to do? Like, your argument just is void at that point. You're just,
and that's what we do. That's what we do is like us, the Conservation Federation of Missouri members, like we spend our time and our money fighting to make sure those people continue to have the rights that we all enjoy, while they're just sticking knives in our back. Like they're sticking knives in like the goose that paves their way. They're gonna have nothing in the end. They won't be able to afford to hunt the King's ranches.
And it won't be their fault.
And it will not be their fault.
No.
They'll blame everybody else, but they're doing it right now. They're ruining hunting right now. They're taking it down to nothing. The rich will get richer. They'll have nothing, and it'll be someone else's fault, but they're the ones doing it as we speak. That's my final thought.
So you guys, well, I hope you guys visit me in my new condo in Yosemite. That's really where I'm.
Yeah. You've got enough money.
I had a blast
money off the
out
deal.
last time. We need to just go on a fishing trip or something.
We do. No cameras, and we go on a fishing. Actually, now it's drivable. How about we do a grouse? Like
I'd love it.
Like Michigan grouse hunt.
Dude, that'd be fun. I haven't grouse hunted in like years.
Yeah.
But why would I want a grouse hunt? I can't score a grouse. I can't brag about how much my grouse scored. Like, what's the point? Isn't that the whole point of hunting? Is to so you can brag? Like what? Why would I want to kill a grouse if I don't know that grouse's name? If I haven't been growing that grouse for the last 4 years, if I'm not, if I have that grouse has to have a name. It, why would I want to kill that grouse next year? That'd be a really good grouse next year. Like that would be a great grouse next year. Like I don't
let her walk.
I don't think
you got to let her walk. Maybe that instead of having flushes when they're like, did you miss? Oh no, I just let her walk.
Let that grouse walk. Be a great grouse.
One more year. One more year. Everybody knows. I know.
I'm a true conservationist. I want to let it grow.
We can create a scoring system. Like if the length of the bottom half of the beak, plus one tail feather, divided by the weight of the grouse, and multiplied by how many toenails curve to the left, and then you'll have a scoring system, and then grouse hunting will be worth doing.
Yeah. That would be the worst television show ever. Grouse. Everybody, there's so many people are like, what are you going to do? Just walk in the woods and miss things? Yeah, that's great. It would be like hunting Sasquatch. I'm telling you guys, Sasquatch is where the money's at. I watch those shows. It's beautiful. All three of us can go out there, run around, not find shit, and then somehow get some shit. I love the business model behind this. I mean, and then, what's always the joke? When they do the mating call, imagine if a Sasquatch comes out just ready to go, just running at you at full tilt. You're like, oh, I did this job.
The slowest person loses.
Yeah,
they really lose too.
Be knocking a couple of you guys over trying to get out of the way.
Oh, dude, I'm sorry. You're taller than all of us. You're going first. Yeah. That's like he'll be right. He's going to be there.
If Sasquatch comes out of the woods and sees us three, he's not going to be attracted to me at all. Like, you two are in trouble. Thank you.
Yeah, that's funny.
All right,
this has
Bill.
been
Appreciate
been
you hopping
exciting.
on here short notice on a Sunday morning, man. Always good seeing you and catching up. And gear review coming up next. End of the podcast, the beginning of a gear review. Brandon, what are you reviewing for us today?
My Lamson fly reel, since I'm just going to be a fly fisherman and a grouse hunter for life now. You know, fly fishing equipment has come a long way in the 25 years that I've been participating, but I can remember walking into Shields in Billings, Montana, and buying a Lamson reel, and I've really just kind of stuck with them over that time. Fly reel, if you're not out on salt water, it basically holds your line, and there's not a whole lot to the drag system on fighting smaller trout, which is where we spend a lot of our time. But these Lamsons are just, I've never had one go wrong. They look nice. They're lightweight. They're machined properly. This is the remix. I definitely have a velocity as well. Large arbor. Yeah. So if you're looking for a fly reel, kind of middle of the road pricing, I would encourage you to check out Lamson. I've been a satisfied customer for many, many years.
Nice. So for mine, it's a little strange, but that's kind of been the theme as of late. I stumbled across these things at break time. Have you heard of the grinds pouches? They're actually like caffeinated coffee pouches. I got the big boys. It's twice the amount of caffeine, 50 milligrams per pouch. And me being nicotine free now, being since the stroke 3+ years, that it still kind of itches or scratches that itch of having a dip in, but it's just kind of got a little bit of coffee flavor. And now I'm on this health and wellness journey too, that I don't drink coffee all day long. I don't want to get fancy iced sugary coffees from Starbucks or anything like that. And I don't drink sodas anymore. So for a caffeine fix on a long trip or a ride, or even like before this podcast, I've had one in. These things really do the job, give you a little, you can feel it, a little kick, and keep you alert. I put one in driving back from the fights last night because I got home late, was getting tired, and man, got home no problem. So yeah, they're over by the coffee in break times, and they're called Grinds coffee pouches. They're pretty cool.
We'll see you down the trail.